Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Eicher here, bringing some three-dimensional review questions to you. This is part of our chapter 9 and 15 review page, page 2. The question is, find the lateral area, surface area, and volume of a right cylinder. So a cylinder that's perpendicular to the ground, standing up straight, not slanted or anything. Not an oblique cylinder, a right cylinder, with radius of 4 and height of 3. So let's do a quick sketch. So we have a cylinder that is wider than it is tall. And maybe get rid of this one, and we'll go like this. There we go. So there's our cylinder. We have a radius of 4 and a height of 3. So the height of the cylinder is 3, and the radius of the cylinder is 4. So to find the lateral area, this is a formula that you could have handy with you. But just to review, the lateral area is the rectangle part that wraps around to form the cylinder. The height is 3. And then this dimension is the circumference of the cylinder. And the circumference is 2 pi r. So that would be 2 pi times 4, so 8 pi. And then you have two circles, the top circle and the bottom circle. And the radius of each of those is 4. So the lateral area, we could start with, the lateral area of a cylinder would be, in general terms, it would be 2 pi r times the height. So the lateral area would be 2 pi times r, which is 4, times the height. So that would be 8 times 3 is 24 pi. Whatever the units are, squared units. So that's our lateral area. Our surface area, we're going to add the top two circles. So you have two circles, 2 pi r squareds, two circles, plus the lateral area, which is 2 pi r h. Or in other words, you have two circles, just to write it out in words for you, two circles plus the rectangular lateral area. So you have two circles, 2 times pi r squared. Radius is 4, so 4 squared, plus 24 pi that we had above from the lateral area. So that's 16 times 2 is 32 pi plus 24 pi. And that would be 56 pi square units. So our total surface area would be 56 pi square units. I believe on Schoology we ask you to leave those in terms of pi. Just out of interest, I'll write what these are equivalent to. The top one would be 75.4 if you multiplied it out. And then 56 times pi would be 175.9. If you're interested. And then we could find the volume. The formula for volume of a cylinder, the formula would be capital B, which is the area of the base, times the height. Area of base, and h is the height of the cylinder. So the volume of this cylinder would be pi r squared. That's the area of the circle, which is the base, times the height. The radius is 4, and the height is 3. So that would be 16 times 3. 16 times 3 is 48. 48 pi. And the units would be cubic units, since it's a volume. If you happen to multiply that out, you should get 150.8. 150.8. But again, I believe on Schoology or on your final exam, we'll ask you to leave it in terms of pi. And most likely you type it as 48 pi. 48 pi on Schoology. Okay, so that was number 6. Next, we have a cone, a right cone. A right cone is a cone that the apex of the cone is directly above the center of the circle on the base. Basically a cone that's standing up straight, not slanted, not an oblique cone. And the dimensions of that cone are the same as the cylinder that we calculated above. There is a relationship between the cylinder and this cone, which maybe we'll mention later. But let's start with a little picture. So we have a cone. So we'll start with a circular base and go up like this. We'll kind of, maybe I should make that a little dashed. Uh-oh, too many erasing marks. There we go. And in this, we have a radius of 4. So that's a 4. And then we have a height of 3. We will need the slant height. The slant height is this length down the edge of the cone. And that slant height, we use a cursive L for the slant height. And to find that, since it's a right cone, we can use the Pythagorean theorem. So we're going to do the slant height equals 3 squared plus 4 squared, and then square root that answer. So that would be 5. So the slant height is 5 with the Pythagorean theorem. All right, I think we probably have everything that we need now to find the information that we're looking for. So the lateral area for a cone, the formula is pi RL. I could derive that for you. It's kind of a cool derivation, but I guess you'll have to believe me that the lateral area of any cone, any right cone, is pi RL. So you have pi, the radius is 4, and the slant height is 5. So the lateral area is 20 pi square units, whatever the units are. The surface area of a cone is the area of the base plus the lateral area. The area of the base is the area of a circle plus the lateral area. So the area of a circle is pi r squared, and the lateral area formula that we had above is pi RL. So the circular base, we have pi r squared, radius is 4, pi RL, L is 5. Notice in this formula, we don't use the height at all. We will use the height with the volume. We did use the height in a sense right here to find the slant height, but the actual formula doesn't have the height of the cone in it. So we get 16 pi plus 20 pi. So that would be 36 pi square units. So our lateral area, we have 20 pi square units, and our surface area, we have 36 pi square units. In case you're interested, 20 pi is 62.8 square units, and then 36 pi is 113.1 square units. And then lastly, we have the volume. The volume formula, the volume of a cone is 1/3 the area of the base times the height. The area base is a circle, so that would be pi r squared times the height of the cone. So we'd have 1/3 pi, the radius is 4, and the height is 3. So multiplying those out, it looks like we get 16 pi cubic units is the volume. If you multiply that out, 16 pi, that would be 50.3. But again, on Schoology, we'll ask you to write the answer as 16 pi, 16 pi. I do want to point out that the answer that we got up here 48 pi is 3 times as much as the answer we got here, 16 pi. Since this cone and this cylinder has the same radius and the same height, the cone is 1/3, right? That's what this was right here. 1/3 the volume of the cylinder with the same dimensions. And that's what we found. 16 pi is 1/3 of 48 pi. The last question I'd like to review. My wife and I were just talking recently about getting our dog a smaller crate. So Mr. Eicher is interested in getting a smaller crate for his dog, Ebby. We've had Ebby for 3 years. Right now she's napping on the couch, very peaceful and restful. I'm sure you wish you were napping. Her current crate, a rectangular prism, has a width of 25 inches, a height of 23 inches, and a length of 36 inches. Find the surface area and the volume. Now, I just asked the surface area for practice. I don't know why someone might want to know the surface area. Maybe if you're painting the crate, but that's kind of weird because it's not like a solid side or anything. The volume is probably more important, just like the dimensions. You know, maybe you want to see how much volume each has compared to the volume of the dog. But we have a crate. So let's see if we can draw a crate here. We have the width is 25, the height is 23. So this is kind of where the door is for her crate. And then it is pretty long, so go back this way. And I go down like that. There we go. So there's her crate. It's 25 by 23 tall, and those are in inches. And then we have 36 inches for this one. Okay, so let's find the surface area and the volume. The volume will be pretty quick. Surface area will take a little bit longer, I guess. So to find the surface area, you could find the area of each surface, might be a good idea, and then go from there. So let's try that way first. I'll write that in red. So the top and the bottom are going to be the same. So that's 25 by 36. So the top is 900 square inches. And the bottom would also be 900. So 2 times 900. So that's the top and bottom. The front and the back are going to be the same. So 25 by 23 is 575. So we have 2 of those, 2 575s. And then the left and the right side. So we did the top and bottom, the front and back. We need the left and right side. So this would also be 36. So that would be 23 by 36. So that would be 828. 828. And you have 2 of those. 2 8/28. Okay, so then we can add those up. We get 2 times 900 plus 2 times 575 plus 2 times 828. And that gives us 4606 square inches. So that would be our surface area of the crate. That's one approach that you could use. You could also, I believe it'll work, see if I remember my formulas. So surface area. Another approach you could use, I believe you could find the perimeter of the base and then multiply by the height of the prism. Since it's a rectangular prism, we'll have to define what we want the base to be. So how about, I'm going to let the base be the front and the back, front and back. So if the base is the front and back, then the height of the prism is 36. That's the length that connects the 2 bases, the segment that connects the 2 bases. So you could do the surface area equals the perimeter of the base times the height of the prism. The perimeter of the base would be 25 plus 23 plus 25 plus 23. That's this perimeter right here. times the height of the prism is 36. So let's see if this works. Let's see if I remember my formulas. 25 plus 23 plus 25 plus 23 is 96 times 36. And I did not get the same answer. Interesting. Interesting. Aha. So the formula I've written here, that's the formula for the lateral area. So if I wanted the surface area, I wanted the surface area, I would take the lateral area plus 2 bases. So the answer I got for the lateral area was 3456 plus 2 squares. The front square is 25 by 23. And when I calculate that, I get 4606. That was close. But either way, I kind of like the first way because I don't have to remember a formula that eventually I end up forgetting anyway. But either way, you're going to get an answer of 4606. Lastly, we just need the volume. The volume is, since it's a prism, it's just length times width times height, which is 25 times 23 times 36. Not that that's really the length, the width, the height. I guess the length is, yeah, I don't really know which one's length, width, height, but you just multiply all three together. So you get 25 times 23 times 36, which is 2,700, as in 20 comma 700. And that would be cubic inches. So 20,700 cubic inches. Thanks for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and good luck on your final exam.